How's it going? So what have we got going on at the start of the stream? I'm just gonna jump straight into it on my lonesome, at least for the start. Maybe somebody will jump on, I'm not sure. But I'm just gonna go over some quick things at the start of the podcast before we delve into some other stuff. New website, it will be changing over to freemanmovement.space. Not got around to it yet at the moment. It is still, I started designing one, but Jamie, who helps me, well, we help each other pretty much with the website. He's got his own, he had his own before I even got on board with the Freeman movement. I set up as well, I started making one, and it's not mobile formatted and blah, 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 blah. So we're just going to transfer the old one over to this at some point, because of like hosting problems. But either way, that's just small news. The original website, jamiefreeman.news, is still up and running, guys. So if you don't know about the website, here it is. Got everything here at the top. Got all the articles. Not posted one in 2 days. Jesus, I'll probably do some more articles before I get off tonight. Got the home, obviously. We've got information on common law, Freeman links. We've got Islam, got Islamophobia, history of Muhammad and Islam, terror attacks 2019, which is a great little index. It'd be good if Jamie updated that. Because there's probably been a way more since the date that goes up to. EU, so we've got information on the Barcelona Declaration. That's the only tab there. It's an amazing read. Definitely read that to understand the dark side of the EU and what the actual whole scheme of things is. We've got Live, which is kind of, you know, a bit of a hotbed of shit at the moment. It's just sitting there, but we will make that more of a prominent link in some point in the future. Hoaxes, global warming is the only one on hoaxes at the moment. QAnon. We've got QAnon, QAnon.pub, 24/7 Q Live, which is good. Q's a massive thing. I'm going to be talking about that right at the end of these links here. We've got New World Order as well, a big one. Oh, I've got to click on this page to show you this laid out. This is brilliant. This is an amazing page. Am I on? Just make sure that my live is like this. There we go. My audio levels, great, brilliant. So I'm going to unmute the desktop audio as well there. So this page on New World Order is brilliant. Now, this has been slandered quite a lot, the whole Illuminati. It got turned into a meme. It got put down as something that's kind of, you know, crap. But giving this a read, it really does give you an insight into what the Illuminati is and the actual history of it, you know, behind the art. Everything is here, explaining the New World Order of the 1990s, 2003. 32 pages, 1 megabyte, the decade of 19... Look, there's all these different PDF documents you can read with a bit of a debrief before you go into them and what they are. We've got Military Review, September 1994, Volume 74. So just there's a trove of knowledge here that Jamie's thrown onto the site. This is absolutely amazing. There's a lot more as well that he's sitting on. There's piles and piles of information that all needs uploading and will be in due time, so keep an eye out for that. But obviously articles as well. We do articles which are, you know, non-biased. We pretty much get straight to the point. The most recent ones being Corbyn shocked by troops using his face in target practice. Will aliens save humanity? That's a great one. I made these recent ones. Jamie also puts articles up as well. This is Jamie's article here. It's taken off Political Light, but pretty good one. Moving on from the website and us. I don't even want to say his name, but you can see it on the screen. Over 5,000 join on Telegram overnight. Wow. Wow, look at that support, guys. Unbelievable. So if you haven't got Telegram, I'm going to play this video in a minute of Avi Yemeni. He's gone over to Telegram, and Telegram is absolutely amazing. So there's a link here on the site. You'll be able to go over to... I post a link, but just go over to tr.news, and you'll be able to find this. Play this little video in homage to TR and just get this
all right, guys, so to follow up from my last video, the censorship, it's gone to a point where, look at Tommy, for example. Sorry, and I'm not driving. For those of you who are going to question me driving again, no, I'm not driving. I think the camera might be in a mirror or whatever. So, in the last video you've seen, now Tommy's been banned from Snapchat. You know, it started with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, then YouTube earlier this week, and now Snapchat. They're basically trying to cut him off the internet. In fact, if you post about him on Facebook, most likely within 24 hours, but within a certain amount of time, if you're supporting him...
Let me just pause and say, I was trying to avoid saying it, but he's pretty much throwing his name out there anyway. So he can probably expect this stream to be deleted because of it, but... Never mind, I'll just carry on. I found that funny. I was trying to avoid saying it, and then this guy just drops the T-bomb all over. So, RIP stream. It'll probably go down after this.
your post is going to be cut, and you're going to be banned for a certain amount of time. It's happened to me numerous times. In fact, my Facebook's also been banned. But besides for tr.news, tr.news is the place where we're posting everything. The problem is that you can't get the notifications there, and people have been pushing us to go on Gab and MeWe and all these other Minds, all these new apps, these new social media platforms that are supposed to compete with Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. The problem with many of them is they either don't function properly, or for example, like Gab, they can't even get an app on Apple because they're not allowed to. So there's no way notifications go through, no way we can run live events, videos, all that type of stuff. Today, one of our team members have come up with a solution, and this solution is awesome. There's an app called Telegram. It's basically WhatsApp. It's WhatsApp, but not owned by Facebook. It's WhatsApp owned by a couple of Russians that don't cower to political pressure. They actually believe in freedom of speech. Follow the link in the description below, because if you follow this link, it's going to take you directly to the group. Download the app. It is better than WhatsApp. In fact, I'm starting to use it generally. But if you sign up to the group, that is where Tommy is going to communicate to people directly, as well as a team. But that is where Tommy's going to directly speak to the people without getting banned. Time to fight back. We're going to win this.
So I'm manually typing this into the chat now, just so it's in the stream. Tommy. What if it's a banned link? Can you imagine that? There we go. So we've got the actual link there in the chat, which is great. Moving on, we've got news on Brexit. What's the news on Brexit? Oh, God. So obviously there's a lot of fake news here, Guardian, but it's always good to get a view of the chessboard, right? As I always like to say, even though we know that a lot of it's biased, it still does give you a feeler for where the shadows are moving. So we've got the Guardian, Brexit, Ireland's Leo Varadkar says EU 27 unlikely to veto delay. And we've got Belfast Telegram. Any EU country that uses veto against Brexit extension would be forgiven, warns Varadkar. So someone's got to veto it. Someone's going to veto this. I hope. Woo! God, guys, I'm hoping for that no deal. Let's pray to God. Merkel branded a danger to Brexit. She will kill it with kindness. Oh God. Express. The Independent. Brexit. Any EU country that vetoes Article 50 delay wouldn't be forgiven. Oh, I said wouldn't be forgiven. Wouldn't be forgiven. Irish Premier veto. Wow. So actually, they're basically saying don't veto it. Someone's got to veto it. I hope someone stands up. I'm hoping. I'm hoping someone stands up. Germany's Merkel says EU will work till last hour to avoid Brexit. Wow. Merkel says EU. Let's play the video. Actually, let's play the video. As long as there's no ad. Oh, it's a YouTube video. Brilliant. Got ad block. See what Angela Merkel's saying.
Today was a
Sky poos. I'll mute my mic for this one. It's only 1 minute 50 to play this through.
very important experience for me. And thank you very much for making this possible, Taoiseach. People were
I thought that was her voice for a second. I thought that's what she sounded like. I was like, what? She's got a very thick English accent. It's obviously the translator or whatever. Crap.
invited to discuss with us in a very moving way what it means for their specific situation, for their specific life to live on both sides of what used to be the border. I personally come, after all, from a country that for many, many years was divided by a war. For 34 years, I lived behind the Iron Curtain, so I know only too well what it means once borders vanish, once walls fall, and that one needs to do everything in order to bring about a peaceful cooperation. After all, a heavy death toll has been taken here throughout the Troubles. And what I've heard here will encourage me further to explore for ways and means to continue to ensure this peaceful coexistence that you have worked for so hard. We have a withdrawal agreement, which we feel strikes a fair balance, is a good compromise. Unfortunately, this withdrawal agreement so far has not met with a majority in the House of Commons, but we do believe that that is a precondition, could be a prerequisite for the period of transition that will follow, where we hope that we will, in a calm and collected way, define the future relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union. We, and I can say this for Germany, and we agree completely with Ireland, want good and intensive relations. Theresa May quite often said, after all, that we leave the European Union, but we remain Europeans. We have a lot of common ground, for example, in the economic area, but also in our cooperation in defence and security issues.
All right, whatever. She's such a twat, isn't she? Fuck me. There's a lot of conspiracy saying that she's Hitler's son. I don't know. Maybe. Right, what else have we got down here? Brexit, the now feels no deal outcome unlikely. No deal outcome is unlikely. I don't know. Probably is. I'm thinking. I mean, what a 1 year delay on Brexit. 1 year delay on Brexit is just ridiculous. Not going to happen. BA. Oh, they're going to stand reply of Brexit threat. Brexit hasn't even happened yet. Ireland is already seeing signs of the economic toll. More fear mongering. Who's that by? The Washington Post. Independent. Angela Merkel is asking the right question about Brexit, and it scuppers everything. God, what a load of shit. It's a real privilege to welcome Chancellor Angela Merkel to Ireland today. Yeah, whatever. 19 nervous Brexit breakdown. Speaking Dublin German. So Brexit is just same fiasco. I want to get into the FISA though. The FISA documents which imply us. I think this is more immediate and going to have a massive impact. We've got Brexit going on and all these things. Maybe it'll bury it. You'll notice if you search FISA, it's buried. It's buried in the whole Huawei crap, and that's not the main story you should be looking at. Scroll down past that absolute abundance of crap. You get to Russiagate and FISA. So what's happening with FISA? If you're not following FISA and you don't know what's going on with Q or QAnon or anything in regards to our implication politically with America and what's going on right now, links to our intelligence services provided bogus information, provided false. If you want to look at it, basically it's almost like a legal, how do you put it? A warrant. It's almost like a warrant. It gives warrant to be able to do things like investigate people, spy on people. It gives presidential powers, things like that, right? And there's FISA reports on Donald Trump. There was FISA reports filed against Donald Trump for colluding with Russia. So basically saying he was a Russian agent. I'm sure we've all heard this story, right? Even us guys over here in the UK. And it's not true. It's a big nothing burger. I mean, there's multiple people saying it's a big nothing burger. We know it's nothing. And it's finally all coming out. So it's gotten to the end of the Mueller investigation, which was basically investigation into the evidence and is he colluding, etc., etc. And there's no evidence. There's no collusion. There's no hard, cold evidence like CNN has been saying for the past 2 years. The false narrative is pretty much fallen to bits. But now it's about investigating the FISA documents and the corruption linked to that. Now, the FISA documents, they're big. I mean, they implicate some very big figures, including Hillary Clinton, Obama, and we are talking treason here, guys. We're not talking light problems like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're talking very, very heavy prices to pay. We're talking life sentences, really bad things. And Barack Obama used these FISA documents, these basically false narrative generated crap, this big nothing burger that he was colluding with Russia, right, in order to spy on the Trump campaign. I don't know if you guys knew this already. If you're following Q and you're into the FISA and what's going on over in America, because you know how important it is to us and the bigger role we have to play in the future, you'll know that this is big. This is really, really big, and they're trying to cover it up. Like I say, with this, they're trying to cover FISA up at the top. But the proportion of importance of this whole Huawei thing compared to this is massive. It's massive. I mean, they can't even remove these results because it'd be like too blatant that they're covering things up. So looking into the FISA documents, they are starting to investigate them. So we get up QAnon.pub. QAnon is basically links to inside US intelligence services that are leaking information and communicating with the public. I believe they have not posted since the 29th, which is odd. I think it's because they're busy with a lot of things. They post all kinds of things. They've exposed paedophilia rings. They've exposed, child trafficking rings. They've exposed the NWO, the New World Order. They've exposed all the corruption in and out. And a lot of it, people already knew. The evidence is already public. But these guys basically point it out, and they speak about the indictment of Trump. See, they're posting all of these things. This is to do with a rally. But you can go and look at Q. If you don't understand Q, there's a video that you can go and watch. I believe Jamie posted it on the Freeman page. So if you go to jamiefreeman.news and you don't understand the FISA documents and everything that's going on with this, there is a article, so you got 141 pages of articles. Jesus Christ. So there's an article, if you go to page, will be 4 or 5 or 6? So if you go to page 5 of the articles, oh no, it'd be 6 now because there's been more articles, so it's been pushed back. Yeah, we go to page 6. We've got President Trump preparing to shake corruption to its core. This is 3 weeks ago, guys, and this has all been going on for a very long time, much longer, all the way back to 2016, and even before the presidential election. This has been going on. It's basically been the vindication and the attack on Donald Trump, and how a lot of people here in the UK basically think he's an arsehole. And it's the same principle and problem as with Tommy. How you ask these people, what have they said that's racist? So it's just that simple question, right? You wouldn't think that you'd support something or support someone or support a political agenda without understanding it, or you wouldn't despise someone or hate someone without the evidence to say on the contrary, or defend it or understand that point. But the problem is, you could ask these same questions about Tommy, President Trump, and anyone across the board, Avi Yemeni, a lot of these people that are being censored for being racist, for being bigoted, and it's just, there's no evidence of this. It's unbelievable. So I'll scan through this just a tiny bit. We've got Hannity, who has links definitely to Trump, very strong links. He's on Fox News. It's not all bad. The mainstream media is not all bad. Obviously, there's going to be good guys across the board, but a lot of them are infiltrated. But if we play this...
This to come in a two-tier justice system. That's all about to change. Justice, I can tell you and report from my sources tonight, is on the horizon. Stay tuned with us. One law.
He's talking about the FISA reports. He's talking about everything that's been going on in America. And it's big. It's been ongoing for a very long time. You can see Hannity is a QAnon, Q Army, the Great Awakening, blah, blah, blah. Many believe that his comments are directly linked to the findings of the Mueller reports and the impending declassification of crucial FISA documents. When these get declassed, you guys are going to see with your own eyes. I mean, at the moment, it's all hearsay. I can sit here and talk to you guys and say, look, these FISA documents are bad. But we already have, eyewitnesses that are on the inside and people that have already come forward and said, well, look, if these FISA documents was legitimate, then they would have pretty much regurgitated at the end of the trail where these documents have been passed along. They would have regurgitated this evidence. This evidence would have come forward in the Mueller case in terms of evidence to prove that he's colluded. Now, that evidence is nowhere to be found. So now it's a question of asking, what's been going on with these FISA documents? Who's made them? Where have they come from? Who's validated them? Because they all have to be signed by, a high-level witness who says that they are valid and they are legitimate. It is believed that there are as many as 82,000 sealed indictments potentially to be released. So 82 sealed indictments. What's a sealed indictment? So a sealed indictment, if you don't know, is basically a prosecution, a legal prosecution of somebody, where they go to a judge and they say, look, we've got this evidence on somebody. We want to prosecute them for this, but we're not done gathering evidence yet, right? So they're still investigating a case. So that would be one sealed indictment. So you'd say, I'm not ready to prosecute them yet. I want to seal it. So they would seal that as a sealed indictment. But once they've got all the evidence and the stuff together to be able to take that into court, or they're ready to, progress on that level, obviously they get unsealed, and the people that are in those sealed indictments go to court, and it all goes down the usual route. So there's 82,000 of them. There's on average, I believe, what is it? Let's have a look. Average sealed indictments per year in America. What I'm on the QAnon switching, blah blah, debunk claims, 40,000 sealed indictments. It's debunking the claims. This is unbelievable, right? They're already registered. You can already go and look. They're publicised. There's a lot of speculation as this information was coming out as to, you know, is this legitimate? But it's been pushed forward that obviously it is legitimate and it is pretty much, you know, out there. So now it's 88,000 new cases entered for March. It's 2019 average of 5,000 per month. So I think it's the normal. See, there's multiple articles here saying 28, but it's now at 88,350. So the normal rate is my point here is the average rate. So when other presidents have been in power, like what would you expect to be a normal amount of sealed indictments? Because what makes 82,000 sealed indictments like, oh my god, that's a lot, right? So how? Because you need to be able to scale it. What's a lot and what's not a lot, right? So the point here is the average a year. I believe it's something like 1,000 to 10,000 max. So it's not. It's not usually that high. So the fact that there's 82,000 means there's a lot of shit going on in the legal system in regards to a multitude of things. So 82,000 sealed indictments. That's a lot of cases waiting to go forward that are being investigated. And this includes Hillary Clinton. And she's recently been linked to another paedophile ring, which is unbelievable. So where does this implicate us? So basically these sealed indictments are going to be declassified. It is then suggested that we will see the declassification of the FISA documents, which will bring the House down and shine a light on where the real collaboration came from, with the spotlight shining firmly on the United Kingdom government and its security services. I mean, it's right there, because that's where these FISA documents came from. And what he's talking about, it suggests that we will see which will bring. So this is after the Mueller report that there's going to be declass, basically. And they've already said they're going to declass it. They're going to declass everything that they can. And the Mueller report is finished. So that's the page that we're on now. We're on the preface of these FISAs being declassed eventually. So moving further on, it says, this is going to open a real can of worms for the UK government. Prime Minister Theresa May, former Prime Minister David Cameron, the British Secret Service, when the FISA documents are declassified, and it will confirm clear collusion with their counterparts in the US to derail Trump presidential campaign, effectively committing treason and an act of war against the US and her electorate. See, what they're accusing Russia of doing in terms of the collusion, right, was in fact what the UK was doing. We was colluding with Hillary Clinton and the Democrats campaign. You know, Obama spying on the Trump campaign, us and our security services generating these false FISA reports based on no evidence in order to give clearance to Obama in order for him to spy, and also to be able to perpetuate this whole media problem and basically be able to say, you know, Trump is an agent and he's, you know, a Russian spy, blah 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 blah. He's colluding with Russia. You know, he lost a lot of votes from that. A lot of people believed that and was like, fuck me, you know. They said that there was cold, hard evidence. Like I said, they've wrapped this story around people's heads for well over, 2 years now, and it's unbelievable. And it's not stopped at any point. So we will be seeing the conclusion of that very soon. I'm not sure when, but we will be seeing it. Follow Q. We've had no Q posts in a long time. I really want to know. Oh God, that should bring it up. Soapbox. I really want to know what the Q community is doing, 'cause it's more of an American predominant thing. Soapbox Q 24/7. Yeah, it really is insane.
Of anomalies with that would suggest foreign intervention on a Hillary Rodham Clinton server. Mr. Priestep, I was certainly aware of the necessity, the worry that exactly what you're explaining took place. And that's why we...
So yeah, these guys are on it 24/7. 24/7, these guys are on cue, talking about everything that's happening with the Pfizers, and there's a lot of UK watchers, as you can see, and US watchers, obviously, predominantly, probably. They've got 1,388 people watching it now, and that's 24/7. That's run by patriots, basically, people that support Q and everything that it's doing, which is pretty cool that they run that all the time. I mean, literally live 24/7. It's unbelievable. It's a staggering amount of time to run a stream, and it's been ongoing for a very long time since Q's been quite a big thing. So in other news, fuck knows. I mean, we talked about cannabis legalization yesterday, and that was pretty insane. Looking at the history of it and the history of you know, what it's come from, and how we've got thousands and thousands of years of recorded medical use and religious use, spiritual use, even Buddhists and Buddhism and the roots of Buddhism and where that comes from. Just a whole bunch of roots when it comes to that. I need to figure out how to make Jamie an admin on the new Telegram? Yeah, Telegram. So I made a new Telegram group because obviously Tommy's on there, so we thought it would be a good idea to get involved with that. Oh, right. Do. Wow. That is staggering. 74% say Hillary's email server is still a serious problem. Well, why would it not be? Bill Masher defends Biden. He's not Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly. That's crazy, though. This is exactly what I was talking about in terms of people that just will swear blind and just completely ignore the facts of what's going on. Play this while I
Are you going to read the full report yourself?
Oh, I doubt it.
I probably will not read the full report personally.
How long will it take you guys to read it?
Probably a long time. It's 400 pages, right?
We're here in Columbus, Ohio, where behind me there is a very sad turnout of liberal protesters peddling a conspiracy that Trump colluded with Russia. Release the report. Are you gonna read it?
Kidding me? No.
You're not gonna read it?
What?
The report, you're not gonna read it?
It's not released.
No.
I know, but when it gets released.
Oh my god, that's savage. I can't believe that they zoomed into that. That's the arm that she's using to hold the sign up. That's so savage.
Are you going to read it all yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay, what do you hope to find in there?
The truth. To find out at least what the investigation found.
You think Attorney General Barr is lying?
Absolutely.
How long will it take you guys to read it?
Probably a long time. It's 400 pages, right?
Right? Like, what a silly question.
What do you guys hope to find in there?
The truth.
I am protesting to allow the people to have access. And isn't that ironic? Because you don't want...
Oh, I do. Yeah, I want it released. You're interrupting the protest, sir. Please stop. You're being a disturbance.
Go away, InfoWars. Nobody wants to hear your conspiracies and lies.
What? You guys are talking about the Trump and Russia conspiracy. What? Are you going to read the full report yourself?
I probably will not read the full report personally, but I'll read summaries of it done by more independent people than the Attorney General.
Will you maybe get your information from Rachel Maddow?
From a variety of sources.
Like who? Like CNN?
I sometimes I watch MSNBC, sometimes just the regular networks.
If it
there it is, guys. There it fucking is. Oh god, it's lovely to see that. Like, that's what the question you should be asking. What news sites do you use? Where do you get your information from? I mean, that's one way to sum up, you know, where somebody's head's at in terms of, you know, what page they're on, right? Because I know most people that will be popping in this stream, obviously the fact that you're ending up in this stream in the first place because you can only find this stream from locations where you have to go outside of the box in order to find out information, is that I know people watching this stream aren't on that same playing field. So I can say, quite confidently, these guys they're stupid. They've got to be pretty retarded to be protesting this.
does get released, what news station are you going to look for to get your information from?
Just about.
That's so ironic though. I've never seen this video, by the way, guys. It's so ironic I was saying that and then she pulls that question out. Good shit. Let's see what he has to say.
What news station are you going to look for to get your information from?
Just about any of the major ones. Usually MSNBC would be good. CNN.
Jesus Christ. That is brilliant. They should ask these questions more often to people. They should have done it in Parliament, really. Should have been asking people that was left wing, like, what news sources do they use?
Not Fox News. They tend to be biased.
Okay.
They don't tell you the full story.
And CNN isn't biased?
No.
I don't want my picture taken. Violate my privacy.
Oh, it's not violating your privacy. This is public.
I'm going to come and break that camera. I'm going to come and break.
They're going to put it, but they'll put it on and then people will block you.
Is this toxic masculinity?
Yeah, I'm going to break that camera.
No, it's not because of your gender. It's because they're not.
So that's not.
That guy's hilarious. Oh, who the hell is this guy? I should make a meme out of him. Oh god, he's brilliant.
Your privacy. This is public.
I'm going to come and break that camera. I'm going to come and break.
They're going to put it, but they'll put it on and then people will block you.
Is this toxic masculinity?
Yeah, I'm going to break that camera.
No, it's not because of your gender. It's because they're not.
So that's not toxic masculinity. That's just toxic in general.
That's just anger and invasion of privacy.
What is him trying to break our stuff? I have a sign that says hashtag release the report.
You're totally nonsense. Your organization, you're not really news.
Would you like me to deal with her?
I'm a girl.
Okay. Well, I'm just making sure people understand.
How's it feel to be
You said that I'm an idiot?
issue?
Did you just call me an idiot, but you don't know who I am? Why did you just call me an idiot?
Once you go away, we're doing.
Why did you just call me an idiot?
I have no interest.
That's not very tolerant. That's not loving.
Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You are.
I am. I haven't called anybody names here today. Do you guys just think that he colluded with Russia?
Who?
Trump.
I think I want to be informed. So what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just asking if you have any inkling to one side or the other.
Well, I can't make a decision until I'm informed, correct?
I agree with you. I'm just asking.
There it is. There's my answer.
Nothing?
Nein, danke.
Nothing?
Nein, danke.
That's what they're hiding?
Gar nichts. Sprechen mit dir nicht. Danke.
What the fuck?
Hey. What are they hiding, Justin?
I don't know. She won't tell me.
When you find out, will you let me know? Thank you.
Chickened out on that one, didn't you?
I chickened out.
And you were obviously representing very fake news.
Are you guys enjoying the speakers today?
This is the orange at the bottom of the Mueller report. We have found the orange.
So you read.
I love how you know, fake news in itself of a saying in terms of a term, you know, terminology, and more of a thing, right? Was Donald Trump who really started it, and now it's being used to defend fake news and shut down real independent journalism. It's really crazy, because when you look into what independent journalism is, it means, you know, just not special interest or blah blah blah, not bought and paid for. You know, like I could be classed as an independent journalist, but not NBC or whatever. It's ridiculous. These guys are absolutely idiots.
And I think, no, we're finding the orange. We're going to find that orange. And I believe there is an orange that we all know that is at the bottom of the Mueller report.
Like the orange man in the office?
Aren't you clever?
What do you hope to find in the report?
The orange at the bottom of it.
All right. Eating healthy.
Some of the investigators are coming out and saying that's not really what my memo said. So, well, at least
so what do you hope to? What do you hope? Are you going to read the full report yourself?
Oh, I doubt it. I don't know.
Where will you get your information from once it's released?
Well, hopefully the news, whatever comes out in the news.
What station will you listen to?
I try to listen to all of them, except the faux one.
The what?
The faux news.
Which one's that?
Fox News.
Okay, so you'll get your information from
Jesus
everybody
Christ.
except...
Everybody except Fox. Fuck. Oh, god damn, these people are so brain dead.
Fox News.
Yeah.
So you're going to find something that he didn't?
No, I'm probably just going to...
The ironic thing about being on the right side of history and knowing that you check your sources and knowing you sit in a position where you'll either be watching this podcast or me myself, you know, like I did at the start of the podcast, I went to news and I went over the headlines, right, for Brexit. I look at all the news outlets, right? Whether I believe them or not is one thing or another, but it would be stupid to only read, you know, some news outlets and not, you know, get as much information as possible, because it's important that you get both sides of the argument. It's, you know, it's not about, if someone tells you a lie in an article, it's not very hard to debunk it if they're saying it on the precedent of fact when they have no factual information or evidence to back it up. That just makes you a moron. So it really is just a matter of using your own brain rather than making your brain somebody else's, and that's pretty much what these guys have done. They're the embodiment of this lie, and it's just really bizarre to see people so convinced about something that's just blatantly fabricated. It's unreal.
See the truth and read it open-mindedly.
And nothing but the truth. Yeah. We want to see it.
The truth.
We want to see for ourselves Barr's conclusions, because I don't believe Barr.
You don't believe him? No. Are you planning on reading it yourself?
Sure, if it, you know, what we get that they actually release to us.
So you don't believe Attorney General Barr? You think his memo is not the whole truth? You want to read it for yourself?
I certainly think he shortened it quite a bit and pointed out the minimal amount that made the president look good. That's what he pulled out. So,
what would be a hard evidence for you to say he absolutely colluded? There's no going back. What information would you require?
Well, there's emails and there's meetings, so we know that he colluded.
Okay, so you're not looking for the truth. You already have your mind made up.
There's facts that are already released.
So your mind's already made up.
There are facts that are already released that establish that.
What the hell is she talking about? Then if there's already facts that are released, then why all the investigation? How thick can you be?
The only reason he's saying what he said is because he had a psychotic episode.
Have you ever experienced one of those?
Actually, no.
And
Are you sure?
What the
Yes,
fuck?
I'm actually sure.
Do you believe in conspiracy theories?
No, not.
Why are you here engaging in this
Because
conspiracy theory?
I believe in the Mueller report. I believe that Barr and Trump are actually trying to cover this up.
That's not a conspiracy?
That is not a conspiracy.
That sounds like
I
a
got question for
conspiracy.
you. Are you carrying today?
Should I have to? What an odd question.
Why would he ask that? What the hell? Why did he just ask if she's carrying?
Are you telling me I should be?
But we all know who you are and why you're here.
So you're asking me if I'm carrying for what reason? What are you going to do?
Because nothing. Every time.
All right, then
I've
it doesn't
ever-
matter if I'm
Okay,
carrying.
Every time I
Since
see
you
got a
asked me
gun.
that, yeah, so don't touch me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with you around me if you're carrying. So there you go. That's why I'm.
I don't feel comfortable with you asking me if I'm. Why do you need to know?
Because I don't feel comfortable with guns around me. Because I don't know if you're gonna have a psychotic episode like your boss and shoot up this place. I have no belief that you're sane enough, knowing who you are and what
Well,
you've
I'm not
done.
engaged in this conspiracy theory. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, talk to your boss about conspiracy theories because he.
Jesus. Oh no.
Okay, you're spitting on me. Bye. And do you think that you'll find something different than what Attorney General
That was gross, man. That's so gross.
Barr found?
I can't know until we see it. I mean, there may be things in there that didn't reach the status of collusion or
So you don't believe in conspiracy theories?
Not that one anyway.
Which ones do you believe in? Like the Russia-Trump one? You believe in that one?
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't believe in something like that?
You know what's weird? You guys are all talking about Alex Jones conspiracy theories, but here you are with the conspiracy that Trump colluded with Russia, the biggest conspiracy of our lifetime, and you guys are engaging in it.
It's true.
Do you think Trump really colluded with Russia?
I'm not an expert.
What do you think? If you, out of everything you've seen so far in the news, what has your conclusion come to?
Citizen? I don't know.
So you're not part of this at all?
Nope.
Why do you lie?
Lie?
Isn't that what you're mad about Trump doing?
What?
Why are you lying?
Why?
Aren't you mad that Trump is lying? Shame, shame, shame.
Tags at the bottom of our sheet here. You've got talking points there. Keep pressuring Portman. Keep pressuring Balderson. Thank you guys.
Why are you touching me?
Next time.
I do have a question. You said that you were handing out talking points. Can I see the sheet of talking points? Can I have a sheet of talking points? Okay, so she just said that she has a sheet of talking points that they're handing out. I want to get one of these sheets of talking points. Do you guys have the sheet of talking points? Do you have the sheet of talking points?
We ran out.
You ran out. What? Can you tell me one talking point that was on there?
No, thank you.
She just admitted that she's handing
the
out
hell?
talking points to people.
Go away.
That's a beautiful ending to the song.
Away.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's so funny. Okay, ironically, she's holding up a poster preventing us from filming that says, "Let us see." And I swear, shit just flies right over their head here. Remember, we are listener supported.
Unbelievable.
No, he did it. No, he did it. It's so funny. What are you doing touching my ass? Don't touch my butt.
Sorry. I'm going to come and break that camera.
Great, man.
Hi, guys. Are you out here demanding the Mueller report be released?
Take my picture.
Don't take my picture. I don't want my picture taken. Violate my privacy.
It's not violating your privacy. This is public.
I'm going to come and break that camera. I'm going to come and break.
They're gonna put it, but they'll put it on, and then people will mock you.
Is this toxic masculinity?
Yeah, I'm going to break that camera.
No, it's not because of your gender. It's because they're not.
So that's not toxic masculinity. That's just toxic in general.
That's just anger and invasion of privacy.
What is him trying to break our stuff?
I'm not making excuses for anybody. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are. Say it's wrong. Will you disavow that?
I'm not going to say one thing or the other.
Disavow it. Is it wrong?
You're dealing with the veteran. You're dealing with the veteran.
I was trying to keep him from making.
You do realize when I come out here and do this and you guys act like total fools that when we put this out there, it doesn't help your cause very much. This isn't helping you acting like this. You do realize that, right?
Acting like what?
You don't realize how you're acting.
I realize I'm responding to you without really giving you any information. That's probably aggravating.
No, you're giving us enough information that we need.
Go away. Go away with it.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You smell like smoke.
What the hell is wrong with him?
I don't like it.
I don't know.
You're interrupting the protest, sir. Please stop. You're being a disturbance.
Go away, InfoWars. Nobody wants to hear your conspiracies and lies.
What? You guys are talking about the Trump and Russia conspiracy. What? What we're experiencing right now is Trump derangement syndrome. If you or a loved one has experienced Trump derangement syndrome, please go to InfoWarsStore.com and find supplements that can help you with this, that can help you with Trump derangement syndrome. It starts with liver failure, and then it causes brain damage. Everybody here has brain damage and Trump derangement syndrome. Who's going to see that?
Brilliant.
Your grandma?
Someone.
All right. Well, tell your grandma I said hey. You're really weird.
The truth, devil.
What?
Alex Jones is the devil. He is Satan.
I'm not the devil.
We are here with Lord. We are here to take his demon kind down. He will.
Okay. Is that a threat?
What the hell?
A threat. He's rich. Sean Jones 2020. We're going to take over America and put the government and the elite in prison and take all their assets.
What are you even talking about?
You're white.
What have I done?
Paying taxes for these people to murder for the last 100+ years, 60 years in the Middle East.
Just because I'm white, I don't have any part in that.
Oh, really? Why are you living on?
You look pretty white to me.
I look kind of Jewish.
You look white to me.
I look like Jesus, buddy. Is Jesus a Jew or not?
Are you guys enjoying the speakers today?
What the fuck
This
wrong
is
with
the
that guy?
orange at the bottom of the Mueller report.
Oh, he saw this
we
guy.
have found the orange.
So you read it?
And I think, no, we're finding the orange. We're going to find that orange. And I believe there is an orange that we all know that is at the bottom of the Mueller report.
Like the orange man in the office?
Aren't you clever?
What do you hope to find in the report?
The orange at the bottom of it.
All right. Eating healthy. What do you think? Have you been enjoying the music?
I've been.
Hi guys, so again, my reminder,
What the fuck?
you're doxing people. They're the ones that actually, I'm so happy you're filming this because they're the ones that falsely, persistently continue to tell people that the
So, okay, this is so funny because they have a really low turnout. Like, there's like nobody here. And now the only speaker up there is now talking about InfoWars. She just advertised InfoWars to everybody walking around here, all the people driving by that have their windows down. She just gave us some free advertisement. Hi guys, what are you protesting today?
InfoWars.
You're protesting InfoWars?
No, I don't want to talk to him.
What the hell?
Do you occasionally protest InfoWars?
Online, yeah.
Online, so like a keyboard warrior?
I guess that's what you want to call it.
Nothing?
Nein, danke.
Nothing?
Nein, danke.
That's what they're hiding?
Gar nichts.
There's like some clips from the old one.
Thank you. What are you doing?
Oh, this
Do
bitch
you
again.
like me? I'm not interested. Your hair is very neat. I like it. Hi, I love your sign here. Do you want to put it in your own words what it means?
No, don't talk to them.
This is what it means right here. I know.
appreciate a man telling you who you can and can't talk to?
I make my own decisions.
Yeah, so he probably shouldn't be telling you what to
In
do.
the streets like everybody else should be. I'm
Don't do interviews with InfoWars. Don't talk to them.
What are we supposed to get out of that? Michael, just ignore her. She wants your attention. She thinks you're cute. This is another symptom of Trump derangement syndrome right here. How long have you had this disease? So another part of Trump derangement syndrome is you forget how long you've had it. Right here, perfect example. It's sad. It's affecting a lot of people today. It's so funny. What are you doing touching my ass? Don't touch my butt.
Sorry.
That's gross. Hi.
What the hell?
Do you enjoy filming me? Am I looking good today? That's what I thought you should do. It looks pretty weird that you're filming a young woman. This doesn't make you look good.
Where are your
What the hell is he
credentials?
doing?
You don't have a right to see them.
Do you have them?
I do, but you don't have a right to see
And
them.
you're not lying.
No. Why would I lie to you? I'm not a leftist.
I'm not talking to you.
You don't want to talk about Attorney General
Go
Barr?
away. No, go away.
You're very intolerant.
No, I'm not. I know who you are.
What?
Who am I? You know me, but I don't know you.
You chickened out on that one, didn't you?
I chickened out.
And you were obviously representing very fake news. Right?
What are you doing? I am not interested in you. Please stop. These people can't see this big ring on my finger.
What the hell's wrong with that person?
What are you doing? No, she's obsessed with you. She likes you, Michael. Look, she's embarrassed. She's blushing. Get that guy.
Taking my picture enough. Go away.
Why do you hate older people?
I don't hate older people. Just tell your grandma to say hey.
You just mocked older people.
What?
See, there's the problem. You've now just mocked older people. That what I dislike most about InfoWars is
I guess
how
I
you
don't
guys
care. Don't touch me.
falsely-
Don't touch me.
How you? I would like
What
to
is wrong with
answer
you?
a question.
You need some turbo force or something to get your head straight. Brain force? You need some brain force? All right, go to InfoWarsStore.com to get brain force. If your loved one is
Oh my God,
acting
she's
like
so
this,
triggered.
they have Trump derangement syndrome.
Derangement herself.
And we can solve that at InfoWarsStore.com.
Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. I can't believe that there's like such levels of crap going on. But yeah, InfoWars is always good. They always release good good stuff. Always. Bluminek. I've always got TR News as well. I haven't really been using TR News. Let's check them out. Over 5,000 join on Telegram overnight. Breaking. Australian PM to get jihadi kid. Oh God. Bring terrorists and ban on Snapchat. Czech Parliament pressured into cancelling children's rights conference after inviting Taiwan. 10,000 riot police officers on standby in the midst of potential civil disobedience. Breaking. Yeah, the articles look pretty standard. I mean, what have we got? We've got 4th, we've got 5th. Have we got any on the 6th here? Yeah, 6th. 5th, 4th, 3rd. Alright, so it's definitely like regular uploads and they're using tr.news. Which is good to see. Popular tags. The enemy BBC. So if I check BBC, so what news is there on BBC? 9th of March was the last one. Under review following Panorama release. I'm still waiting for the Tommy Robinson, what's it called? The Tommy Robinson panorama. like the investigates, Panorama investigates Tommy Robinson, or Tommy Takedown as they was going to call it. But obviously the funny thing about it is they was going to release this panodrama. BBC Panodrama when trying to take down Tommy Robinson, confirming no. They was going to release it, but then they cancelled it, right? They cancelled the Panodrama. What does that tell you? Unbelievable, eh? It would have been good to... He should have held off on the Panodrama and then released it, like, the day before airing or the day after or something. That would have been good. Because Panorama would have already been released, and then the Panodrama would have, like, destroyed it, which is great. Oh, God, unbelievable. I don't really know of any other news sources. I mean, I like InfoWars. TR, I've not really been using it. It's been good to have a place where, you know, he can go live and you can keep up with him. So, yeah, remembering that. Especially mentioning it towards the end of the stream here. Over 5,000 joined Tommy Robinson on Telegram overnight. Unbelievable, right? Absolutely crazy. I think this could be big. This whole Telegram platform could be big, and it's quite big in the sense that it's not been up that long in terms of like pushing it out there, and it's already, I think it's 11,000 now. I think it's a lot higher now than it was. This TR on Telegram, I'd definitely recommend anybody, you know, go follow it, go look at the Telegram, because it really is. It really is pretty unbelievable.
All right, guys. So to follow up from my...
So links here. I'm going to put this in the chat again. Because it needs to be 100%. You're right, Keith. What have we got there? Oh no, Mr. Live. 11k, 11.2k now on Telegraph. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Absolutely great that he's gotten back, like the you know, all that support, you know, because hopefully it'll be a platform that lasts. He's posted videos on it, posted live videos, he posted voice clips, which is pretty good, like voice clips that he's done, and they all, you know, they ping through to your phone. You just open it up. Let's check on my phone really quick on the Telegram if there's anything on there. There's just a voice message. I'll play this down the microphone. I'll play all his voice clips. It's everything that he's put on so far. It's not much. It's not been up that long, to be honest. He's kind of just starting it up.
Definitely got hot. That Lizzie did, and definitely got a hot spot for me, isn't she? Morning, Lizzie. How are ya?
It's hilarious because this Lizzie Dearden on Twitter was tweeting about Tommy Robinson, saying the Tommy Robinson Telegraph channel is online with 1.8 subscribers. Unclear if they're new or followed it when it was set up in February under the name of Tommy Robinson's Friends with Zuck. Update: over 5,000 in just one night. You've run out of safe spaces, sweetheart. Let the triggering begin. That's what Avi Yemeni responded. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. Then going down, what's he got? He's got a video here, which is pretty good.
Yes. This is like Instagram all in one. And there's that. Yes. This is like Instagram all in one.
It's pretty.
And there's absolutely nothing stitched.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. definitely recommend you guys get Telegraph, because I'm guessing he's going to be using that for going live, posting information, blah blah blah. It's like that direct link. Obviously, you can post on the website, but you know it's kind of a bit of a navigation to use the website properly. Phone constantly pinging. Maybe you can limit the notifications on it. I've not really used it immensely. There we go. Brilliant. So you can make people admins for the Telegraph. I've done that for Jamie now. But yeah, it's been great running up till 9. I've covered it anyway. It's just a little one. Looked into a couple of things with Q, the Pfizer report documents and stuff. Chris has been at work, so he's not been on. So it's been a quiet stream anyway. Not missed anything. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Share, like, subscribe on the YouTube. Just like and share on the Facebook. It's much appreciated. I'll catch you next time, which will be tomorrow at 8. Wow, that documentary last night blew my mind. I want to put a another documentary on, but I wouldn't know what documentary to put on. Let's have a look. Because it's always a good idea to find one that's related to what we've been talking about on stream. Well, I can't put a Tommy one on. Joe Rogan's doing Kevin Hart, which is unbelievable. He's got 100k watchers. I'll probably just go watch that. But Kevin Hart on Joe Rogan is unbelievable. Really? That's pretty crazy. Are they on now?
And I said, you can't have the white guy that's never been to the hood, or who's not from the hood, or has no idea how the economy works here. And
that's pretty cool. Kevin Hart on Chris's home. Is it possible to video Chris? Does that work? Hello.
What's happening?
Can you hear me okay? You're on live now.
Yeah. Am I? Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm mid-live, so I just phoned you on the computer. Just give me a second.
I've had a stressful day. I've just walked in and my dog's just pleased to see me. Yeah, look. This is what the greeting I get. That's the greeting I get. Look. Hello, Snoop. Funny, isn't it?
Has he got like a croc in his mouth or something?
Yeah, he's got a croc in his mouth, yeah. He brings down shorts, pants, bras, everything, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's funny, he's a funny boy. Anyway, how's it been this evening, guys? All right?
Good, yeah. It's been a quiet one. It's been, you know, I've just gone over some things. Mainly talks about the Pfizer documents and how that's coming to a conclusion now. The D-class is like any moment, you know, with the Pfizer documents and the implication. Talking about how that's coming into play. Obviously, giving a shout out to Tommy's Telegraph and how that's blowing up. There's like 11k on it now.
What, already? Yeah, I see that. I see something when I was glimpsing on my Facebook thing. I was at work, but I have to be really careful I don't get caught on the phone. You know what I mean? So that's sobs, man.
Yeah,
but that's how it is.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, man. So what else have you been talking about?
Went over the news headlines, not much. Talked about, well, I was watching some videos on InfoWars of crazy liberal leftist fucking brain dead people laughing about that. Oh god, InfoWars is pretty funny.
Oh no, tell me about it. I see somebody put up on Facebook that the people weren't happy with, the Remainers weren't happy with the result of the Grand National, have asked for a rerun.
Jesus Christ.
Well, anything now, innit? Fucking hell. Anything you're going to ask for another vote on, aren't they? Do we know what's happening with that?
With what?
With the voting in late, didn't they? Weren't they in Parliament yesterday or something, or today?
Well, we talked about an extension, basically going to the European Union for an actual extension, and so much news going on. It's hard to keep track. Yeah, things are crazy everywhere. It seems it's true, mate. It is. It's mad. Keeps going there. It's like it's so hard to cover it. I mean, I try and I have on the other podcasts I've done. They're on YouTube or logged or whatever, or on my previous videos on here. I just hide them from my timeline so it doesn't get cluttered. But we try and go over all sorts. We talked about cannabis yesterday, legalization of medicine. Day before that, we had a bit of a structure, didn't we, Chris, where we talked about UFOs, nuclear war, the weapons, and Rod from God, and all that kind of stuff. We try and talk about a bit of Q, but there's just so much crap going on.
Has there been any Q updates today?
No Q updates. We're still on to the 29th. What about the water leak in Parliament? What? Let me search that now.
Well, that was Uri Geller, wasn't it? It was Uri Geller and his magic wand. Fucking unbelievable, some of these people.
Let's have a look. Water leaks in Parliament. Fuck's sake. A water leak in Parliament prompted the closure of the CNN. I mean, it's fucking CNN, but it's just a water leak.
Is that the bit they're looking for? Is that it there? I think that's the bit of the pipe that went missing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah? You got a bit of pipe?
I got it, see? Well, it was me. I got the pipe. I got the pipe.
Is that your boy? Is that your boy practicing with the
yeah.
solder?
He was practicing how to flood Parliament, you know.
Yeah. A water leak in Parliament prompted the closure of the Commons and a flood of metaphors. How bad was it? Not the first time there has been a leak in Parliament, I'm sure. Jesus. Oh, God. The leak was urgently dealt with and has now been isolated. The House of Commons maintenance team is currently assessing the damage. We would like to clarify this was not a sewage leak. I'd like to... Oh, it's hilarious that they said that. Is that legitimate? Let me go to Twitter. Oh.
That would be quite funny. Shit fell on them.
Yeah, they did. We would like to clarify this was not a sewage leak. Let me retweet that for the Freeman page.
The only shit that comes out is out of their mouths, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's the only sewage leak they have. Tell me about it.
So I'll look at the responses on this. What have we got? The house is already full enough. It was just Mark Fry's making an invention. We didn't burn him. I even read that in Todd's voice. Theresa May has been talking sewage for years. Desperate to avoid.
That's an idea. That's an idea. Listen, let's get some quick dry and cement. You know the really quick stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go round Parliament, right, and then quickly just put all down there, empty it down their drains, and let it go off.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
They'd be full of shit then, wouldn't they?
That'd be so fucked, mate. You'd be serving jail time for that. You'd be serving jail time for that kind of shit.
Quite literally. Your Honour, you're charged with causing crap in the Houses of Parliament. How do you plead? Fucking guilty, mate. Oh dear.
Hopefully Kirsty says, hopefully be shot up until the 12th. Keeps but lol wish, but house is full of shit anyway. Yeah, it is. Kirsty's put it was in live stream while someone was talking. Oh, so it happened as it was being streamed. That's pretty funny. Jesus Christ, unbelievable. But yeah, I did look in the news and they said something about how if anybody vetoes the extension, which apparently countries have the ability to veto the extension,
Veto? Yes.
that they won't be forgiven. They said people saying they will not be forgiven for doing it. So, like threats. So don't be democratic. You've got to listen and do as you're told. It's unbelievable.
And so I'm just gonna load up the PC. It'll take about half hour. If it turns on. Fucking thing. Oh.
How's work?
Really sad, mate. Really sad. Someone I've looked after for about 6 years. She's taken a real turn for the worse today, and it's just horrible, man. Death is horrible. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those things, though.
I mean, and the stress we have in our jobs in the care industry is unbelievable with staff, in wages. It's just terrible. You work all your life, you know what I'm saying? You buy your house, you live as everybody says, and it comes to your care, and it costs you £1,000 a week to be in a care home, and your house goes. That's it. They sell it. See you later.
Yeah.
And you go. And then if your money runs out, you're kind of like you're homeless, unless social services step in. You know what I mean? But it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. It really is.
It's a shit state of affairs, and then people that can't really defend themselves as well having problems with it. The fact that they would sell even a fucking single % or penny of a pension is just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. That's right. That's right.
The fact it's happening
is
unreal, because a lot of these people that are losing their pensions, they're fucking total victims in this. It's unreal.
Do you know what makes me laugh? I mean, I've done this for a long time, and I've noticed that you have different classes in these homes. You know what I mean? So you do have rich people, you know, middle class people, and you have your poor. Now, from what I've seen, the family members that come to the home the most to see their family, if you're not to see their grandparents, are the poor ones.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
They're there week in, week out, you know, get a bus there, whatever. They come and see it. But the middle class and the upper class, they're just left to be looked after. And you don't see no one. And when the funeral comes, you see all these people come out the woodwork, crying and, you know. And you just think, how fake are you? You know what I mean? It's just, it upsets me, my view of human nature, you know. It really does. It really does. It just goes to show you as well. Sit there and see them all going, God, I've missed this person. I think you haven't seen them since they've been there, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden you're crying at the funeral. Dirty bastards. My computer won't load up, it's gone to Mac instead, the bastard.
Death is a big business. Death is a big business to banks, says Keith.
Yep. Like I said, we had one woman there. She could pay for her care for like 200 years. So imagine how much money she had in a bank. And yet she was the poorest person in there. The family never bought her clothes. They never did nothing for her. You know what I mean? And like I said, I remember the funeral. There was hundreds of them all have turned up, and I was shocked. I got the right arm. Wouldn't speak to them. Wouldn't go. You know. Oh, horrible. Really upset me, man.
Yeah, people that are in that place should really be like living with. I mean, family values have been degraded and destroyed for fucking years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And it's not too long back that, you know, your elders would come and die with you at your home. You'd look after them, right?
Yeah. But I mean, mind you, that they are trying to do that at the moment, but they're not trying to do it for value. For family value, they're trying to do it to cut money.
The thing is, with that though, is a lot of people, they have to work 9 to 5, and usually now to work, if you want to like work properly, it's both people that work. I mean, husband and wife now work. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Sue's put the Queen's cousin is in a care home and she's on basic care because she's retarded, and the Queen and her family have washed their hands with her. And the other cousin had at Pauper's funeral.
That's right. Yep. Disgusting, isn't it? Disgusting.
That's unbelievable, mate.
But they're not even our royal family, though. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen. Come on.
I'm gonna phone you.
They're impersonators.
I'm gonna phone you on Skype if you can get on there.
Yeah. Just cut this call off and Skype.
Okay, I will do that. It's much better quality on Skype. It doesn't drop out.
Big group there. This is the big group.
Whoa. There we go. Alright. We can go over to this one as well. It always does that.
Cut the background noise out. Alright. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, man.
Wicked. We'll go that way, shall we? We'll go that way. Your phone's buggering around. You're on a sideways view for some reason. Strange.
Yeah, because it should be it should flip. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, the care industry needs to be, I think you're right. I think family values have completely been taken away from us. I think our child's education has been completely taken away from us. And I think it's all part of the agenda. I think that both parents were encouraged to work, made to work. So therefore the children can be educated beyond out of their control. Do you understand what I'm saying? Without parental interference. You know what I'm saying? So it's all part of it. All part of it. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, we used to have a term of phrase, and it was called latchkey kids. Okay, and these were kids who both parents had to work, and when they get home, they had their own key to let themselves in. Yeah, and these were the kids that you'd see on street corners, smoking, getting up to no good, because they had no control. Okay, and then you wonder what's going on in London. Says it all, doesn't it? You know, it should be so that one parent can stay at home, doesn't matter what sex, either parent. One parent stay at home, why not?
Sue's put a comment here saying, fairly big one. My neighbour went into a care home against my will because I was carer for him. He went in and never walked again. His feet swelled like gallons. They wouldn't let him out the lounge for a nap on the afternoon, just stuck in his chair. He's had any amount of falls. So the writing's so fucking small on my screen. He's had any amount of falls and was at death's door. Now he's in nursing home. Brought him back to life. Social services once again thinking they know best.
There is bad cases, man. There is bad care homes, I'm afraid. There really is. I'm really lucky. I work in a really good one, man. We've had awards. You know what I mean? It's proper. They can do what they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take them down the pub if we need to.
That's it. They still need to have the freedom, or they get into a habit of Well, in old age, it's simple things, isn't it? It's simple things in old age. Yep. When you lose that routine.
You see, in America, they have you've got dementia. Okay, you've got about 100, 200 different types of dementia. Lewy bodies, frontal lobe. You've got loads. Okay, but in America, which is really interesting, they have a dementia which is caused through being in hospital for long periods of time, and actually brings on dementia. But we don't have that over in this country, which I thought was quite strange. Because you do notice it if one of our residents goes into hospital, when they come out, a different person. And even then, the hospital care we've had up, especially up in Essex, I'm not going to mention the hospital's name, but oh my gosh, catheters blown up, bed sores when they come back, people gone in there. We go. So, for example, if I've got a resident that hasn't got much family and he's in hospital, on my days off, I'll go and see him. You know what I mean? I went in one time and I've gone in there and I've just looked at him and he looked really ill. Checked his catheter, it was about to explode. It was that full, and I'm like, what's the nurses doing? Oh, his catheter was. Let me have a look at the records because I know what I'm doing. I'm looking at the records for catheter change. Well,
I've been in and out of hospital. Obviously, myself. Not like for me, for family, and with Lauren as well for personal problems. And they're just so shit. They're just so shit. And I mean, I don't even think it's a level of funding. I think they just hire people that are just shit. Right, people treat it so much like a job, or the morale's so down because the pay's so shit, or the resources are so shit. It just has a knock-on effect in terms of people's work ethic and how well they treat the patients or how much they look after the people that are in the care. And it's fucking terrible. Got another comment from Sue saying he had 2 savings accounts and never been in debt all his life. Now he's had his house emptied and items sold to pay for his care.
Yep.
That was after they emptied his bank accounts. He had 32,000 in one of them. My mate's mum's care home put her on end of life, refused her food and water. What the fuck? She ended up in hospital and died. There's some really good and bad carers out there, and the bad spoil it for all.
Yep. And another thing, what happened as well is, to be quite honest, I mean, the government did a push, okay, because with care, it's hard to explain, but care is changing. So what's happening is now is care's going into the home, to the family, to look after their elders, which is how it used to be. Okay, but it's not for the pure reason of love; it's for a financial reason now. You see, so what happened as well is the news, you know how the media is. It always reports the bad cases. It always reports the bad care homes. You understand? It doesn't report the good care homes.
Yeah.
You with me? Now, I'm telling you now, here and now, the good care homes, believe it or not, outnumber the bad care homes. So it's just another government scam. That's what I think.
Well, to get you to pay more money, thinking that you pay for something better.
Yeah.
To justify how it costs more.
Yeah, and then they get the carers that come in for an hour. There's some really good carers, man. I know there is, but I've seen bad carers myself. Just there for the problem is it's a low-paid job. I don't do it for the money. I do it for the care because that's me. But you do get a lot of people who just do it for the money and don't. All they're interested is what they get at the end of the month. You know, that's another difference. You can tell that even where I work. Sometimes you can tell the ones that are in it for the money and the ones that are in it for who care. You know. Weird. Sounds a bit of contradiction in terms, but it's just weird. But it definitely needs to be re-evaluated. You pay your national insurance, you pay everything else. You shouldn't have to pay for your care. You should not have to pay for it. It should be there. And all the council-run homes have been squashed, got rid of, haven't they, and sold off to private care homes. So, I don't know what the answer is. And then you get residents there, and all they want to do is they want to die. You know what I'm saying? They've had enough. They're 90 years old, and they're just like, I've had enough, Chris. You know, I don't want to be here anymore. And they get well depressed about it, which I think is why euthanasia would be a good idea.
Look, if somebody's at old age and they're in like terminal pain, then fuck me.
Yeah, just let them go. Let them go.
Can't get cash out of them then, can you?
But it does need an overhaul. It still needs to be sorted out. All this tax we pay, and like I said, everything else, we should be, our elderly should be well sorted out. And then you got the waste of medication as well, you know. God blimey.
Sue's put, it's a really hard job. Broke me when they done to what they done to him. Didn't think it would affect me so bad. I couldn't go back into care for that reason. I get too attached.
Yeah, same as me, darling. I've got one today who's going, and It's heartbreaking, to be honest. It really is. Heartbreaking.
So I'll play a documentary on care homes then. It's a BBC one, but it's an expose. Yeah, I've got to get off and cook some food, mate. Thank you for popping on, though. Unless there's anything that you want to talk about. In fact, if I play the documentary, can you get it up? You could like watch it and talk about it while I cook food.
Oh, I'm going to need to eat myself.
It's all good, man.
Just done a double shift, mate. And then they asked me tonight when I got into work. I said, oh, I've got to do another double shift tomorrow. 15 hours, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Killer. Perhaps we ought to run our segment a bit longer instead of just an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it?
Up till 10. It's just preparing it. It keeps getting to 8, and then even my missus, or yesterday it were you, or even on the WhatsApp, it's like, aren't you doing your podcast at 8? I'm like, shit! And it's always like 30 minutes before. I'm like, fucking hell, I need to get shit together, like what I'm going to talk about or whatever. But we always end up, you know, getting on some good topics. James, Hewitt. Just need to
but the people, guys watching, they can always suggest a topic. We could just talk about it ad-lib straight away.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good to have a structure, though, especially when I get on. I think I'll start to do a little news segment at the start and a catch-up over, like, the main things like Brexit or whatever and discussing the recent happenings with that. Because it's a day-to-day thing, and what's this, like 4 or 5 days running now? It's pretty good. So it's...
I just pulled the wrong button off. Oh.
It's been good. I always end up coming on too late and miss it, lol. Well, there's replays anyway. I watched some pretty funny videos of InfoWars and all that crap. But I'm going to love you and leave you guys. I will be on tomorrow at 8. Yeah, going on for longer, probably a good idea. Do you want to say goodbye, Chris?
See you later, guys. I ain't got my PC on. It hasn't started up yet.
Bloody hell.
Redo it. But no, listen, I'm going to try and finish. I'm going to say to him, I won't take a break tomorrow. Let's see if I can finish at 8 or something.
Yeah.
I'll try and come on at 8. Yeah.
It's no sweat, mate. I need to fucking... What I need to do is I need to look throughout the day and remember, even when I got off today, I need to go away and think, you know, if I see... Because I see all sorts throughout the day. It's like Keith said earlier. It's like there's so much. It's so hard to follow it all. There's so much stuff going on that, you know, it's almost hard to think about what to bring up. I'll set my alarm. Bye, guys. Catch you later. I'm going to play an amazing documentary anyway on this. I'll be watching it. But yeah, the truth is out there. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Yeah. Like, subscribe on YouTube. I'll catch you guys later. Catch you later. See you later, Chris.
Catch you guys later. Peace. See you later, mate. Be safe, guys. As always.
The truth is out there.
Program. Expect strong language as Paul Kenyon reports on the systematic abuse suffered by some of the most vulnerable people.
This is a residential hospital. It's supposed to care for adults with learning disabilities. People unable to care for themselves. But Panorama's been undercover and found systematic abuse. Patients suffering. Staff out of control. Away from their families, these were patients without a voice.
The level of abuse that I saw in that room was the worst I've ever seen in my entire life.
13 staff have been suspended from the hospital and patients moved to safety. Tonight, we expose a huge failure at the heart of our system of care. What should happen to this hospital?
It should be closed down.
An industrial estate on the fringes of Bristol, and a building which is home for up to 24 patients. It's called Winterbourne View, a purpose-built private hospital for people with learning disabilities and autism. When it's full, the taxpayer pays more than £4 million a year to house patients here. But not all is well. Last year, a senior nurse at the hospital complained to his bosses of abuse. He also went to the top, the healthcare watchdog, but nothing changed. So he risked his career to talk to us.
I've seen a lot over 35 years, and I've never seen anything like this. Never. It's the worst I've seen. These are all people's sons, daughters, parents, aunties, uncles. These are all people who've got families. And the families themselves don't know what goes on in there. They don't go inside the unit, they just go to the visitors area, and the patients come out to see them. Nobody, even the families, gets to see what's inside there. They would be horrified if they knew.
It's a hospital which should evaluate and treat its patients and work out how best to get them back into the community.
What it's supposed to do is to assess people's psychological and psychiatric state, and perhaps to work out the best way of responding to somebody, both responding to them when they're presenting problem behaviour, but also the best way of supporting them.
Several staff had reported problems at Winterbourne View, assaults even, but nothing changed. We needed to get inside. So undercover journalist Joe Casey applied for a job as a support worker, a carer.
I just got offered a job and I've accepted, which is really, really good. And I just need to give him a call back to get a few more details.
It was going to be a sensitive operation. We arranged extra training so he'd know how to safely restrain disturbed and difficult patients. At the same time, he'd be using 3 secret cameras and keeping a daily video diary.
I was apprehensive about working at Winterbourne View and caring for people with learning disabilities. I've never worked in care before, and I had no idea what I would find when I'd walk in.
After just a week of training with the hospital, Joe finds himself working with some of the most disturbed and challenging patients.
Good morning.
He'll be working the top floor, the locked ward. It's where our whistleblower said the worst abuse is happening. There are long corridors with individual bedrooms for the 10 patients. They spend much of their day in the lounge. The staff sit among them.
There didn't seem to be much in the way of activities for the patients. A lot of the time, the patients would be hanging around, sort of in the lounge, watching TV, and when there were activities, a lot of them didn't seem interested in it at all, and they just looked bored.
Only those carers we filmed mistreating patients will be identified. The only patients we'll identify are those whose families have viewed the footage and agreed it can be shown. – 9 a.m. on the first day, and it's not long before Joe notices something odd.
A support worker called Ali was sitting with a patient on the couch and was just poking the patient's eyes. Right in front of me, just poking it, casually poking her eyes.
Ali's a support worker with 6 years' experience. As they wait for lunch, the same patient is on her knees being wrestled by another member of staff. Her shirt has ridden up her back, exposing bare flesh, and support worker Ali has seen it. All of these patients have learning disabilities, and many have only a childlike awareness of what's going on around them. After lunch, and Joe's in the lounge. All seems peaceful, but this time a carer called Graham starts to focus on a patient we'll see more of later.
What's up, mate?
Later, Jo's called to one of the most vulnerable residents. She's a woman in her 40s who lives in a fairy tale world of dolls and princesses. A group of support workers are making their way to her room. The patient throws something at one of them.
You would like it if I chucked bad things at you, would you? No, so stop it! Take it off here.
They punish her by confiscating her pillowcase.
When you can apologise and have it back. What was it? Give me that back now!
3 support workers take her to the floor.
Listen, you don't get to chuck stuff at me and get away with it. You should know that, alright? You know that I don't let you get away with it.
Do you need me or what?
One of them is lying across the patient's chest with an arm across her throat.
I'm going to keep it, alright, until you can say sorry.
They should be calming her down, but this is punishment.
Because we've done nothing to you except tell you to get dressed so you can have your... You set off.
Last year, the same patient suffered a broken arm whilst being restrained.
Go on, spit in my staff and I dare you. Go on, I dare you. Because you know what'll happen.
One of the staff involved is Charlotte. She gave Jo this piece of advice.
The minute she gets anywhere close to you, you just have to do what you got to do, Jo. If you're on your own, like if you have to smash her and you smash her, but you know you don't let that. The minute she starts shouting, I don't let her on her feet. I put her straight down.
All right, so get her straight on the floor.
The minute she starts shouting, you won't calm her down. It'll get worse, and somebody will get hurt over a patient or yourselves. And then that's a big statement that you have to write why somebody's got hurt. Why was it? And the first thing management asks you, why wasn't she on the floor? So, yeah, I just whack them all down.
It's the end of Jo's first day on the top floor.
Yeah, I just whack them all down.
My first day, it was a real eye-opener. Not what I expected at all. The place was chaotic. It was pretty much as if it was being run by a group of bullies for their own entertainment.
We showed our footage to clinical psychologist Andrew McDonnell, an expert in the handling of patients with challenging behaviour.
When you can apologise and have it back. What was it?
Oh, for God's sake. Stonehenge. She's got her arm across her carotid artery on her neck. What can that do? Well, this supplies oxygen to your brain. I mean, these are not taught techniques as such. These are things that they are, in my opinion, making up as they're going along.
Our whistleblower Terry went to the hospital's management last year and named the patients he believed were at risk of being abused. One of them was Simon. He's 36, but has a mental age of 4. The cause remains a mystery.
Simon was the most high-profile patient. The reason he was high-profile was because he had a spirit about him and he was not downtrodden in any way.
Darling, sit down with me. Give me a hug, then.
He loves to give people bear hugs. And they're hard to get out of, the bear hugs, they really are. The people there just didn't like it. They didn't respect what he was trying to do. It was his way of saying hello. People there would say, no, get off, push him away, and he'd often end up being restrained.
During his 5 weeks at Winterbourne View, Jo would get to know Simon well.
Simon, what's your name?
Joseph.
Joseph.
Simon Tovey is a really, really funny, interesting patient. Always makes me laugh, always makes me smile. I'm not the only one. All support workers always laugh and smile when they're around Simon.
I need to go downstairs, mate.
His enthusiasm and the way his character is just infectious. He's basically sort of got the mind of a kid. He sometimes oversteps the mark.
You need to calm down for me.
You know, invades people's personal space, gets a bit too close, won't take no for an answer. But apart from that, he's just brilliant. I absolutely love spending time with him.
Yeah.
I was trying to measure.
Okay. Don't worry.
I've been good.
You have been very good. You did lots of work today, didn't you?
Simon used to live here, in a small residential care home close to his mother's village in Wiltshire.
He does a lot of hugging. He was a very placid child. He didn't start to become much more active until he was older. He's always very generous. He'd give you his last sweet. He's that generous.
But his behaviour grew more challenging, and the council intervened. Simon was moved, supposedly on a temporary basis, but ended up in a succession of hospitals.
It was incredibly distressing. We suddenly had no control over Simon's life or what happened to him. So in the end we acquiesced and we went along with it because we were clearly informed that Simon would be returning to his place, his home.
That was 3 years ago. Now Simon's behind locked doors in Winterbourne View. One afternoon, Joe comes across him sitting in the corner of the lounge with a care worker on his lap. It's the eye poker, Ali again. She's had enough.
Take you to play day. What do I do? Get up there. Like you're going to shower. Such a whisper in the ear. Get your hands away from it.
She's just snatched his favourite drink bottle. It might not seem much, but the bottle goes with him everywhere. It's acquired a special meaning. Our expert says if it's out of his grasp, it could trigger panic.
If you've ever concentrated on something yourself, a particular thing that you like to hold in your hand, yeah, it helps focus you away from what's happening around you. It helps you tune out. When somebody takes that off you, that's the equivalent of somebody taking your whole security blanket away.
Anymore.
Oh, look, very miserable.
It's like his dummy.
Huh?
It's like his dummy.
Oh dear.
That's all it's gone to you, though. No.
It's gone out the window. Yeah.
No.
I bet I can. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He goes to close the window. It looks like he's seen these games before. Simon's become a source of entertainment.
What are we going to do when he goes one?
There are other control games they like to play on Simon.
Ready? Ding ding!
Here, a carer called Jason is playing a boxing game.
We've got to say.
Simon has to say ding ding to end the round and make it stop.
What's that? How do you want to fight? Is that nice and confident? How do you want to fight?
It doesn't always work.
Say it then. So, Larry, what do you say?
Low blow.
Quite actually that, don't you? Quite. Oh, you get two balls and angel fight.
Because he is sort of very exuberant and shouts a lot and likes to play a lot, he becomes a target for sort of play fighting and sort of, you know, low-level sort of bullying away from other support workers. That just highlights, you know, what some support workers do for their own entertainment, and he bears the brunt of it an awful lot.
You ready?
The hand slapping is a distorted playground game where a carer called Wayne shows who's the strongest. He's a senior support worker at Winterbourne View with ambitions to open his own tattoo parlour.
Slapper.
Wayne was a big bully. He is arrogant. He thinks that he runs the floor. In fact, he thinks he runs the whole of Winterbourne View. And he has this aura about him that strikes fear in a lot of people, including fellow staff and the patients, definitely.
Simon has a fear of toilets. That's where Wayne takes him to teach him a lesson for his bear hugs.
How do you feel?
sure at the moment? No. How's that feeling? Nah. Right, this is how everyone else feels. Yeah. Do you like that?
Simon, please put your trousers on.
Here's Wayne again, in the red.
Let go when you're out. Let go when you're out. No, not sort of Wayne. Let go when you're out. Look, this out.
Simon, please put your trousers up, mate.
No way. You stop that right there now. Yeah? That's a martial arts technique that has no place in any kind of care home. If you also watch this, people watching this, it's just like, you know, in a sense, it's like watching the entertainment.
During Joe's time undercover, he found Simon was a frequent target for bullying and abuse. When Panorama approached his mother Anne and brother James, they asked to see the footage.
That's a story for you, dear. What's that?
These are adult men, they find it funny.
Say it then. So, Harry, what'd you say? What'd you say?
It's not so nice. He slapped her on the face. That's assault. Poor Simon is so confused he doesn't know what to do. No wonder he's lost his spark. I think Simon's never been treated like that in his life before. And he's obviously trying to do the right thing, but he can't win, can he?
Stand up. Stand up. I said stand up, please.
He can't win. There's no way whatever he does is going to be right to make them happy. They're just having their amusement and their fun. How can that ever be allowed to happen? I'm in shock.
What are you going to do now?
Fight to move Simon, fight to bring Simon back to his home, his family, his village, where he belongs amongst the people that he's grown up with that love him and care for him. Take him out of this system as much as we can, bearing in mind that we still need assistance. I want to see Simon back where he belongs.
Is it raining?
For Simon, our footage would be life-changing. It'd tell a story he never could. Patients like those in Winterbourne View can be difficult to deal with, but there are strict rules governing the control methods used by staff. They have no special powers. They have to abide by the same laws as the rest of us. They can only intervene physically in an emergency when patients are going to harm themselves or others. Anything else could be an assault.
Well, I was told during my training that restraint is always the last resort. Has to be. You have to try every other option available to you first of all. And even if you have to use restraint, it's for the minimum amount of time possible. However, at Winterbourne View, a lot of the time, it was used as the first resort.
Most of the restraints Joe witnessed at Winterbourne View you won't see in any training manual. Many of them are straightforward assaults. An 18-year-old female patient is often the target. Simone has been living at Winterbourne for 4 months.
Look at your face. Your skin's gone so bad because you're hot. It makes you ugly. Do you want to be ugly? Yeah.
She's very tough to deal with when she wants to be, but when you get a chance to sit down and talk to Simone, she's lovely. You know, she won't talk much, but when she does and when she gives you the smile and the happy face, her face just lights up. that makes you happy. You can always hear Simone from absolutely wherever you are. She's always laughing. She's got that sort of infectious laughter.
Right, forget about bacon then, Simon.
What's up, Simon?
Here's Simone, pinned beneath a chair by Wayne. This isn't restraint, it's a serious assault. Another carer, Graham, wraps a blanket around her head.
There's a night-night.
On you.
And tell them what? You hit me first.
30 minutes later, jacket off, Wayne's still there. Simone has been largely passive. Now Graham seems to have her in some kind of headlock, whilst another carer hands out sweets.
Me and Simon.
4 days later, Wayne is back in the chair.
Let me know when you've got some pause and then we'll fight, alright?
And whilst he watches the television, he pins Simone's hand beneath his foot. Professor Jim Mansell is the architect of government policy on how we deliver care for these sorts of patients. He's reviewed many abuse scandals in the past.
It's the classic model, the long-serving, unqualified, very strong member of staff who sets a benchmark for managing the situation by the exercise of physical violence on the patients, and then expects all the staff to fall into line.
Other staff look for Wayne's approval. This one, Michael, drops his knees onto Simone's legs. Again, Simone is posing no threat. Then Wayne slaps her.
Shut up. The only thing you got to watch out if you do this, make sure you don't have her, like I did the other day, pinched underneath the chair.
Oh, did it leave a bruise?
I didn't mean to do it, yeah, it matters. I pinched the skin on, sat on it, it's going to leave a bit of mark.
Wayne was one of the staff that our whistleblower Terry was particularly worried about. Before Winterbourne View, Wayne used to work in a young offenders institution.
He said to me on my first day, I think, I'm one of the good guys, you don't need to worry about me. And alarm bells go when people tell you things like that, because what do they mean by that, you know?
And was he one of the good guys?
No. No, he was one of the people that loved to restrain people.
Oh no, do you want me to get a cheese grater and grate your face off? Do you want me to turn you into a giant pepperami?
Razor.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A razor?
Yeah.
Cut you up?
Oh, yeah, Wayne, do it.
Look, stop dicking around, okay?
Do it, Wayne.
It shook me, this place. It made me really think. It made me wonder and question whether I wanted to even do this job anymore.
What won't you, Chris?
Support workers at Winterbourne View are paid around £16,000 a year, in line with the rest of the industry. They need no healthcare qualifications. Wayne has been there for more than 3 years and takes the lead, looking after some of the most vulnerable patients.
Is that blackbirds?
This woman is one of them. She can be sweet-tempered and playful.
Really well.
Yeah. Oh, good for it. Am I joking? Yeah. Am I joking, yeah? Hey, I'm only joking, yeah? You're in happy form, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah?
She was a lovely, friendly, sweet person. She has a personality disorder and a mild learning disability, and there was rumours that she had been abused in the past. She was sometimes difficult to deal with, and she was restrained a lot.
One morning, it's Wayne's job to get her up, and he wants Joe's help.
Yeah. She refuses to get up, so what we do is we just she still didn't get up, I'll give you the nod. Okay? As soon as I give you the nod, all the chances are Uber, and we'll grab her, get her out of bed, grab her, and just put her right here. Morning. It's time to get up, princess, okay? Yeah? Should we put some shoes on? You wanna get up like a good girl? Yeah? Come on. Time to get up.
A female support worker should be present.
This day ahead of us today. Yeah? Lots to look forward to. Yeah? Come on then. Time to get up. If you don't get up in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to grab all of you and I'm going to drag you out of bed, okay?
Wayne shouldn't be escalating the situation.
Time to get up, okay? Time to get up. Good girl. Time to get up. Do you want to grab you or grab this side?
You want me to grab this side, yeah? Okay.
And then we just launch right. Grab her. That's fine.
Within minutes, the patient's so stressed, she's torn off her clothes and is lying naked and hysterical on the floor. Physical intervention, restraint, is such a serious step. Each time it's used, official records must be kept.
I need to go write that statement from earlier. What were you saying about it?
Yeah.
Wayne has to describe exactly what led to him dragging a patient from her bed. His account could be inspected by the bosses or even by the regulator to make sure patients aren't being abused.
She was reluctant to rise this morning and refused to attend to her personal hygiene at 8:30 despite staff's efforts to direct her and offer of female support. Myself and Joe attending became aggressive and started hitting out at myself. As a result, I was led from her bedroom by myself and Joseph.
That's not what happened. But a lot goes on in this hospital that doesn't get into those official reports. In the afternoon, it seems the same woman who Wayne dragged out of bed in the morning has just attempted to jump out of a second-story window. Wayne's there.
Go and do it now, I'd like to see you do a good flying. When you're on the floor, do you reckon you'll make her fly or come on, like keep it able to sag off a bit more. I like watching you lot. It's crazy. Why did you jump from so equal set?
Wayne and another carer, Nino, pretend they're in a gangster film.
I'll make a phone call and get to what? Get a clip. Yo, I got a piece of cake. There's gonna be a murder!
Then, out of the blue, Wayne leaps on a patient in the corner.
Wayne had lost it. Previously, we're talking about abuse that's been handed out over time, but in one period of time, he basically aimed all of his abuse and attacks at least 3 patients in one room. He just went from one to one to one, straight one after the other. He'd completely lost it. He'd lost all control.
Wayne then turns on Simon on the other side of the room.
Simon, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing? Come on. Get down.
Come on then, let's go. Me and you, I'm ready. Yeah, I am. I'm warmed up. Let's go. Come on, let's free down. What do you want? I'm going to put your face off then. I'm going to put your face off. Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Simon, were you happy? We're the tail, yeah? So we know it.
The staff don't think that these are human beings just like them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing to people.
This kind of abuse was more common decades ago, when the learning disabled were kept in large asylums.
Nurses here are filled with a feeling of futile anger. In order to work here for any length of time, they often distance themselves and become hardened to problems.
Abuse scandals were one of the main reasons asylums were shut down and patients moved to the community or to smaller, more specialised units. Now an increasing number of those are being run privately, like Winterbourne View, owned by a company called Castlebeck. With an annual turnover of £90 million, it has 580 patients in its care. A place in Winterbourne View costs an average of £3,500 per patient per week. But Winterbourne is a hospital which seems to have stopped caring.
This is the worst kind of institutional care. It's the kind of thing that was prevalent at the end of the 60s and that led Britain to gradually close the large long-stay institutions.
Assaults at Winterbourne View have become endemic. This is a support worker called Danny, his victim, Simone again. She doesn't need restraining, but with her head covered, he kneels across her neck, a serious assault. Some of the assaults are even pre-planned, and there's a tone of retribution.
Who are we talking about?
Here's Charlotte, planning her next approach to a difficult patient.
He's pushing it, so we're going to floor him. He just really doesn't give a shit, and he's a sort of bloke where we need him to give a shit because, you know, we don't usually get these much staff on stay. Yeah. So when we've got it, we need to abuse it. So he'll be kissing the carpet soon. I expect.
Michael, another carer, needlessly controls Simone by bending her wrists. Another assault.
Going to get.
Later, he tries to explain his approach.
Well, what do you do then to sort of...
Sometimes you might have to just put on the floor a restrainer or say that you're going to take things out of her bedroom. It has to be a consequence for her to, you know?
In one of the weeks where we were filming in their undercover, there were 24 restraints in a single week. Does that sound like a lot to you?
Yes, one would be a lot, wouldn't it? I mean, because what you're describing here is a service, a model of looking after people in which staff are just standing around waiting to pounce on people and restrain them. There's nothing else to do.
When he walks away from one of us, we'll put him down there. Then you might think twice about it next time. Right down there.
In fact, they're so bereft of anything to do that they're actually provoking incidents that allow them to restrain people.
Come on then, we need to do some garden stuff, don't we, eh? Yeah, we do. Come on then. We're putting all these bits and pieces into the bag. Right. That's good, isn't it? That's good.
There are attempts to fill the time with group activities, sometimes outdoors, and there are carers who do their best. Most of these patients have been warehoused at Winterbourne View for more than a year, and with so little to do, boredom sets in. Here, they're being taught about underwater volcanoes. Support worker Graham stumbles through the text.
Smokers are home to a community of organisms that thrive in the scalding waters and toxic chemicals. The organisms include giant clams and tube worms. So, underwater volcanoes, basically.
For the staff too, there is no point to any of this. There is nothing to do during the day. The only interest and excitement comes out of prodding people to get a reaction and then implementing the restraint procedures that they're doing.
Graham is one of the main offenders. He first applied for a job here as a kitchen porter.
Graham is a disturbing man. He's one of Wayne's lieutenants. He follows orders and really doesn't think about what he's doing. He just hands out abuse, hands out pain. He walks around normally in his jacket, scowling, really just not wanting to be there. And I don't know why he is, because he is not caring for those patients at all.
Look, kid. Non-stopper. See you later.
Remarkably, this culture of abuse persists at Winterbourne View, despite a carer being convicted of assaulting a patient just 2 months before our filming. Melanie Nichols slapped a patient, a wheelchair user, several times as she was in the shower. She then forced wet wipes into her mouth. The patient's parents were never told the full story. They received £200 in compensation and assumed the incident had been minor. But that criminal conviction hasn't deterred some of the remaining carers. The threat of punishment in the shower and toilets is still there.
If I come back and find out you have a view, we'll be having a shower, not together, in your room. Simon will be in the toilet. Simon will be in the... Simone will be having a cold shower. Beautiful. So you two, it's up to you, isn't it?
Simon likes to shower and the toilet, don't you, Simon?
Castlebeck's bosses missed a series of warning signs. The assault in the shower, and an incident where another carer headbutted a patient, breaking his nose. And then there was senior nurse Terry Bryan. He blew the whistle to Castlebeck about the abuse of patients in a 4-page email last October. He named Michael, Charlotte, and a carer called Holly. He also named the ringleader, Wayne.
My original email was to the manager of Winterbourne View. I had no reply from that, or from his manager as well.
So you sent it to the manager and his manager who was outside the hospital?
Yes, he was based elsewhere in the country. Still part of Castlebeck. No response from either of them.
We put that failure to the new boss of Castlebeck, who took over in January.
What should have happened at the time was the staff named in those initial allegations that the former employee made should have been suspended, and they weren't.
So you could have suspended them at the time?
We can suspend staff, yes.
So you could have gone in at the time. I mean, this is the letter. I don't know if you've seen it. There's 4 pages there.
I have. No, you're absolutely right. Yes, no.
Naming the perpetrators.
Yeah, no.
So you're telling me you could have gone in and suspended people?
No, we should have suspended people. I'm not saying we shouldn't have. That's absolutely what we should have done, and we didn't do it. And I'm not defending that. I'm actually saying we should have done it, and it didn't happen.
If that complaint had been acted upon, it's likely none of what you've seen so far would have happened. And Simone in particular would have been spared months of abuse. Until last summer, she lived with her parents in Wiltshire. She was born with a genetic abnormality, but still enjoyed a full and energetic teenage life.
She likes to go down the slides and on the swing boats and look round houses. She likes to go to the beach.
And swimming all the time.
Yeah, swimming all the time.
Oh, she's an energetic girl. Like, we're 2 old fogies. We got an hard job to keep up with her.
And what kind of person is she?
Very lovable. Very lovable.
Last summer, Simone began suffering unexplained headaches, and there were some violent outbursts. She was forcibly taken into care and ended up in Winterbourne View. What was about to happen to Simone in a single day left even our carer Joe numbed.
I've just come back from a very, very long shift at Winterbourne View, and I've seen what is easily the most shocking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Simone's day begins badly. That's Graham on the left attacking her. The nurse in charge of the day shift is Kelvin. He should intervene if he witnesses any mistreatment. He's heard something's happening to Simone in the shower. This is his reaction. Then he turns and walks away. Also present in the green shirt is Ali again, and Graham. Even for our expert, it's profoundly shocking.
This isn't a jail. This isn't Guantanamo. People are not here to be punished. This is a therapeutic environment. Where's the therapy in any of this? I would argue this is torture.
Later, there are screams from the garden. Wayne's outside with Simone. He's poured a jug of water over her. It's March, and the temperature's just above 0.
Let me see what you've got. Go on then. Go on then, stand up then. Listen, punch properly and then we'll have a row.
No way.
Come on then.
No way.
Come on then.
No way.
Come on then, me and you. Let's have a row then. Go on.
No way.
You want some?
No!
Right. Well, shut up then. Stop threatening me.
Yeah?
Go on, do something now. Do something. Don't just stand there threatening me.
Remember, Simone's a patient, Wayne's her carer.
Getting cold now?
No. Fuck off, you prick.
Your mum's a prick.
No, you!
Listen, why are you being rude? I'm not being rude to you, am I? Talk nicely to me and I'll talk nicely to you.
Get police on you.
Police don't come here.
Yes, they do, you fucking git.
You shut the curtains, mate.
Wet and cold, Simone's now been outside for 15 minutes.
Do you want to come in? We're going to bring her in because she's shaking. We're going to bring her in because she's shaking. So...
She was in a terrible situation. When we finally brought her in, I thought that Wayne had gone too far, that the charge nurse would intervene, and he would be in trouble.
When she's back inside, the charge nurse does appear. It's Kelvin again, the one who failed to intervene in the shower. Wayne's explanation should have had him disciplined, but Joe sees no sign of that.
Then she started like spitting at me, so I got fed up of being covered in spit, so I got the jug of water and just tipped over. I knew she'd get cold quickly, and I thought I'd last her out, but unfortunately she started shaking, so I thought I'd bring her in before she hit blue. Mr. Mum, hungry?
Simone is often the centre of abuse, but the people, the carers who are handing it out, they're normally on different shifts on different days, so it's not so concentrated. However, on this day, these people who were handing out abuse before, they were all on the shift.
The night shift has started and Simone's refusing to go to bed. The night shift nurse appears, the man in charge, Apu. He gets an explanation. And instead of intervening, he watches as the abuse worsens.
You're getting the fan out. What temperature you put at?
they use the fan to make her colder. Nurse Apu has 35 years' experience, but he stands by and continues smiling.
On a number of occasions, charge nurses turn up during abuse, serious abuse, smile quite often and walk away.
I would expect the support worker with 2 days' experience to intervene. It doesn't need to be a charge nurse. You know, it's just not acceptable practice. None of the allegations that have been made are acceptable.
Support workers Graham, Ali and Holly get Simone into her room. The nurse Apu is still there. Simone's immediately set upon. They're trying to give her medication, even though the hospital's banned the use of force to do so.
Graham, if you just swallow it and it'll be all over.
Graham's holding her nose to force her to swallow. All this just for a paracetamol. The man in the brown shoes is the nurse, Apu, again. After a moment, he leaves them to it.
But once the door closed and the nurse had left and another couple of support workers had left, and I was left with Holly, Ali and Graham, the level of abuse that I saw in that room for 15 minutes was the worst I've ever seen in my entire life.
Graham decides to play camp commandant.
999! Over there and cracked we went and ripped up.
So put your pyjamas on, Simone.
She's so in a state of hyperarousal and stress now that she's actually almost burnt out. She's almost kind of
shaking, isn't she?
Shaking. And that's the adrenaline that's going through her body. That's a heightened state of anxiety. She is in such a distressed state.
Do you want your pyjamas? Wait, do you want your pyjamas?
Oh, these are flowers.
The flowers were a present from her parents. Graham tips the flower water in her face. At this point, the secret camera runs out of power. But the abuse continues. Simone is given her second shower of the day, fully clothed. Joe saw it all.
At one stage, Ali got a bottle of mouthwash, and started pouring that on top of her as well. You could see it was stinging her eyes, and this poor girl, was absolutely devastated. She was in tears. I was the only person who wasn't doing anything. She just kept looking at me, and everyone else was just attacking her.
When we contacted Simone's parents about what was happening to her, they wanted to see the footage and have agreed to it being broadcast.
Oh my God. She's got to come out of there now. That's disgusting. They should be locked away for that. Literally locked away. Every one of them that's in there.
She thinks, oh, Mum and Daddy's left me in a place like this.
Yeah.
Why have they left me in a place like this? To get tortured. That's how her mind's going to work.
She's been tortured, isn't she? Literally tortured. Physically and mentally tortured.
What, mate?
On a recent visit, they remembered Simone had tried to tell them she was being mistreated.
She told us that she'd been hit, her hair had been pulled
and kicked.
And she'd been kicked, and I said, no, Simone, this wouldn't happen. They're not allowed. This is what she told us, and I said no. So I have more or less told my daughter that she's telling lies to me, her mother, and she wasn't telling lies. And we've let her down by not believing her.
After 5 weeks working in Winterbourne View, Joe recorded his last video diary.
I just quit my job today as a support worker at Winterbourne View. In my few weeks I spent at Winterbourne View, I have been shocked and amazed by what I have seen. It has been a real eye-opener. And I've seen it all, it's all happened right in front of me. It's been terrible, really, to be honest. And some of the stuff I will see will stick in my mind for a long time. Some of the abuse I've seen will just be with me for a very, very long time.
But it could all have been prevented. Terry Bryan, the Winterbourne whistleblower, reported his suspicions of abuse last year. After going to his bosses and getting nowhere, he went to the top, to the regulator, the Care Quality Commission, or CQC. He contacted them 3 times, but they failed to tackle the abuse.
I'm astonished. I just can't believe it that someone like me who knows the way it works, other people don't have that knowledge maybe. People just coming into the profession, they won't have that knowledge and they won't know this. So if I can't get anything out of the people at the CQC, I worry that other people won't even get anywhere near them.
What's the point of a regulator when, despite repeated warnings, it failed to protect some of the country's most vulnerable patients? In effect, the CQC was unwittingly complicit.
A senior nurse from Winterbourne View contacted you 3 times, on 3 occasions, with the word abuse,
yes.
And nobody saw fit to follow that up?
That was a misjudgment.
And by that misjudgment, you've prolonged the suffering. You, the regulator, the people that we trust to look after our families in care, have prolonged their suffering by several months.
There was an opportunity that we missed, and that meant that that suffering, that cruelty, was potentially prolonged, absolutely.
It wasn't potentially prolonged, so it was
It was prolonged. Yes.
The systematic
Yes,
abuse.
I've said that. We made a misjudgment, and as a result of that, had we acted at that time, as we've done now, we can act very quickly to cease that kind of treatment. We missed that chance, and we're sorry for that, and we're doing everything we can now to make sure we're responding properly.
But it's even worse. The Care Quality Commission actually inspected Winterbourne View 3 times in the last 2 years, and they failed to spot anything was wrong.
When we inspected, there was no evidence, both in speaking to staff and patients and observing and looking at documentation, for us to identify evidence that there was systematic abuse.
And what does that tell you about your inspection system? It's clearly failed here.
No, I don't think that's correct.
Has it failed here, though?
I think the inspection system, the regulatory system, it hasn't identified this on its own.
So it's failed, hasn't it? It's failed the people who live in Winterbourne View.
I think the people in Winterbourne View have been failed, and I think we are part of that system. The hard thing is that we had our staff in that unit on occasions, sometimes announced, sometimes unannounced, and that the evidence of that wasn't apparent.
As a result of our findings, the CQC is now reviewing all Castlebeck's facilities. Castlebeck says it set up independent reviews of its 56 homes and hospitals, a whistleblower hotline, and it's examining all patient records for any concerns.
Personally, I'm ashamed to be part of an organisation where that kind of behaviour can go on, and all I can do is unreservedly apologise to both the families and the vulnerable adults that have been involved in this, on behalf of myself as Chief Executive and Castlebeck, for what's happened, and recommit to making sure this doesn't happen again.
I warned you, you don't listen.
After we told Winterbourne View about the abuse we'd uncovered, 13 staff were suspended, including senior managers and all the nurses and support workers identified in our film. the police have launched an investigation.
How do you know it's not an awful lot more widespread? Because we can't be sure that your system's picking it up, that's the bottom line.
What any regulator will find difficult to do is uncover whether it's...
I know you'll find it difficult to uncover, but in this situation, it was handed to you on a plate.
Yes, and that is something that we need to address. We must make sure that that kind of failure in judgment does not happen again, so we can build the confidence of the public so that they can trust the regulator to do its job.
But the man who wrote government policy on patients like the ones we've seen believes it's time to call a halt to the practice of putting them into locked hospitals.
I believe that they could all be living in a small residential home or their own home in the community. There's no case for institutional care for people with learning disabilities.
What should happen to this hospital, do you think?
It should be closed down.
Simone has now been moved to a new hospital. Simon was moved out of Winterbourne View just hours after Panorama interviewed his mother and brother.
Okay. This is my shower room.
He's now back in the home he lived in 3 years ago.
You're right about that, son? Yeah. Are you?
How does it feel to see your mum again?
Happy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how does it feel to be back here, in this
Good.
place? Do you like it here?
Yeah. This is my best brother.
Oh.
I'll do my best brother. Yes, I am your best brother.
You know the place that you've come from, Simon?
Yeah.
Which is quite a long way away.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that place?
Mm.
What's that? Thumbs down? What was it like?
Rubbish.
It was rubbish.
Oh.
Was it?
Yeah.
So now you've left it, okay?
They're horrible.
They're horrible. And
Yeah.
they used to do dreadful things to you.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not having dinner in Winterbourne ever again.
You have to stay at Winterbourne ever again.
No, I promise you, you won't have to.
Now the real question remains, how many other Winterbourne Views are there? And how many more people like Simone and Simon?
And for details of organisations which can provide help and support, go online to bbc.co.uk/panorama, or hear recorded information by calling the BBC Action Line on 0800 077 077. Calls are free from a landline. Mobile operators will charge, and lines are open 24 hours a day.
I want you to make
Help me, I'm Amanda Berry. I'm the police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years and I'm here, I'm free now.
This is the story that shocked the world.
This is something that we've never seen before, and it really is the sort of thing that nightmares are made of.
A dramatic escape after 11 years in captivity.
And they see this girl, and she just going nuts on the door. So I'm like, what's your problem? Just open the door. And she says, I can't, you got it locked.
The fear, the panic, her body would have been pumping with adrenaline.
We found them. We found them.
How had a school bus driver managed to kidnap and enslave 3 local girls?
It's just chilling because she must have trusted him.
How had they remained undiscovered under the noses of friends and neighbors?
He fooled me for all these years.
We don't know our neighbors.
He was the best actor I ever met or seen in my life.
A monster behind closed doors.
They suffered years of abuse, held as prisoners.
This is
fucking left it going running, and
absurd. This is sickening.
that was. I didn't mean to. I was meant to come back after fucking 5 minutes. I'll check it at the end and to end it. I'll post a link to this documentary if you's watching that at all. Let me go onto Facebook Live. I don't know if anyone was watching this. The story of 3 girls who were kidnapped and kept captive for 10 years. Let's just go onto the stream and just post this, just in case anybody was wanting to watch this. I'm not sure though. Jesus Christ. That documentary was so fucked. Towards the end I stopped watching though. That's absolutely mad that it was reported pretty much at every single level, yet they didn't even like deal with it in any way, shape or form. Unbelievable. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, the truth is out there. We'll be on tomorrow, same time, 8 o'clock. Up till 9, probably past it, finishing off with a documentary on topic with what we'll be discussing. Like, subscribe, share. The truth is out there.